Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. I am Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner, and I want to thank you for joining me today on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel. Please take a moment and remember, like, subscribe, and even be notified when new episodes drop. I will definitely say you can support me in the network by sending stars. Stars do help us earn more money to make more content. I want to thank you for joining today. Today, we're going to talk about something that is very exciting. Today, we're going to talk about feeling unorganized. We're going to talk about 4 decisions to fix your to-do list. And here's the great news. My promise to you, I'm going to ask you 4 sets of questions. You are going to answer them. And by the end of this time together, you're going to have a system for a to-do list that is going to help take organization and control over your tasks. So you no longer feel unorganized. And isn't that something that's worth investing a few minutes of your time? So that's what we're going to do today. So let's talk just a little bit. As I said, you are joining me today. We are talking about feeling unorganized, 4 decisions to fix your to-do list. We're going to talk about the process of establish, define, assign, and set. And that's how you're going to build not just a list, but a system that is personalized, works for you, and you will want to use. You know, it's kind of interesting. I've been looking back as I was preparing for today's presentation or today's show, and I was looking over the last 3 weeks, and it's kind of interesting. We have a mini arc of the last 3 shows, all talking about our feelings with productivity. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about feeling overwhelmed, 2 productivity shifts to take control of your day. And I gave you 2 shifts, 1 with the daily process and 2 with adding task time. If you look down in the notes, you can see the clip to watch that so that you are no longer feeling overwhelmed. Then last week, we talked feeling scattered. Last week, we talked about a productivity spring cleaning in 6 steps. I gave you 6 steps so that you could do some spring cleaning and be present with today. So we are no longer feeling overwhelmed. We are no longer feeling scattered after last week. So today we are going to look at feeling overwhelmed. We're going to look at 4 decisions that are going to turn your to-do list into a system that's personalized and that you will like. Let's talk about that. So if you ever start your day, you just feel unorganized, there's notes, there's things, you know you've got stuff to do and you're not sure where to get started, I always suggest one of the places to get started is with a centralized to-do list. Now, this being the year of our Lord 2026, we know that a to-do list could be a paper, it could be a notepad, it could be a note on your iPhone, it could be a system, it could be Trello, it could be Rike, it could be blah, 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 blah. So we know that there are a lot of options and we're going to get into that. That's not the busy work that we want to think about first. The first thing we want to think about is if you do not like this feeling of unorganized, the next time you're experiencing that, remember what it feels like, right? I say this with care and respect, because one of the things we want to do is we want to ask ourselves, when those moments come up, what can we do to take care of it? One of the things that we can do to take care of it is to ask ourselves 4 questions, and 2, stop feeling unorganized. So let's look at these 4 decisions that we're going to make. So today's episode, we are looking at, are you feeling unorganized? Here's 4 decisions to fix your to-do list. As I mentioned earlier, so the 4 decisions we're going to look at. Decision 1, we're going to establish your system. Decision 2, we're going to define the structure. Decision 3, we're going to define and assign time. Decision 4, we're going to set review and rhythm. We're going to set the review, rhythm, and improvements. That is a mouthful. I'm having a hard time with that one. So let's go forward with that. And again, step 4, decision 4, we're going to talk about set the review, rhythm, and improvements. There, we got it on that for a 5th time, maybe, whatever, right? But it's important when we think about our decisions. This simple framework is going to turn your to-do list into a system that you can feel control over. So let's jump in and get started to that very first decision. So what's going to happen now? I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're going to build the system right now. How cool is that? So let's get started with decision number 1, establish the system. So you want to start to fill in your boxes. I will use, and this is where you want to be specific, and you want to say, is there an app you're going to use, a planner, a platform, a Google Calendar, Notion, paper planner? So what you first want to ask for yourself is, I will use. Make one decision, one commitment right now. You can do it. I've had clients that I've worked with in the past that have been like, oh, but I could have 2 different versions and I could have multiple. Nope. To get started, to build your system, you're going to commit to 1 today. We're going to talk about how to update and change if we need to. But for right now, we're going to say, what is your very first decision? What is the 1 system you're going to use? And be specific. All right. So we're all going to say that together. I will use a notebook. Then we want to start and we want to go into the next question and ask ourselves about establishing our system is, why does this system work for me? Why is it that you are using fill in the blank above? And it's important we identify this so we know how to move forward. So for example, for me, I use a paper notebook. And the reason why that it works for me is because I love markers. I love writing things down. It's something that I can carry and I just like it. So that's why. Okay. So have you made your decision number 1? What is the to-do list you are going to use? And why does that system work for you? All right, let's move forward to decision number 2. We're going to define the structure. So again, there are so many different ways we can track, slice, and dice things, right? 6 ways till Sunday. So what we want to think about is, what is the logic behind your list, right? What is the operating system? When I work in productivity with people in technology, when we start to say we want to build the operating system, it makes sense. So what we want to think about is, what is your primary structure? Are you going to organize by project? Are you going to organize by category or by task type? Are you going to organize by project? Are you going to organize by category or task type? So an example of that might be, so if we're going to organize by a project, that means I'm going to say, hey, client A, and I'm going to track everything by client A, and I'm going to track everything by project. If it's going to, and it again would be by client A, by launch, it's going to be very specific to the project, right? That's one option. Does that work for you? Or would you prefer a category where it's kind of like, is this business? Is this family? Is this a number 1 vacation? Is this wanderlust? Is this how I can get to lost track. But we want to start to think about what the categories of our tasks that we do are. Do we want to start to track them by categories? Again, business, family, vacation, medical, whatever those categories might be that are prevalent in your life. Or do we want to structure it by type? We're thinking instead, okay, so our type of tasks and activities, are they calls? Is it admin? Is it deep work? Is it creative? Is it wander walking work? So when we're thinking about our operating system and we're thinking about the decision of defining the system, we want to ask ourselves, how is it that we want to start to track information? By project, by category, by task type? Or is there another version that works better for you? Once you've identified that for yourself, then you're going to write it down and you're going to say, my structure will look like And for me, I will be honest, I tend to organize by category and then by project. I can't just do one way, right? I have to make it extra because I am Megan. And that's how I do my productivity. And it works for me. So I organize my tasks by category and by type. That's what works for me. But the question for you here is after you've decided your structure and operating system, write down what works for you. All right, so that was decision 2. We are halfway there. So the good news is you've decided where and you've decided how you're going to organize. We're halfway there. The next thing we want to look at is define and assign time. So my time strategy, right? So what we want to start thinking about is how is your time organized? Is it that I have a work job from this time 8 to 5 and then I have family time? Is it that my day is broken up? Is it that I work all the time? Is it that I have specific days? What we want to start to look at is your time, your days, and how you're organizing it, right? So because we're talking about our to-do list and our task list, we want to start to think about when we're looking at it, how can we organize it to match our time? So for example, once we've decided, if we know that, hey, I'm on client calls every day from 8 to 5, I know that I need to be aware of how I'm organizing my task time with that, right? So we want to start to think about what our time strategy is for our to-do list. So there's a couple questions I'm going to ask you to go through, right? So think about this. One thing we want to do is we want to remember, do I estimate? And we want to ask ourselves, I estimate time duration for every task. When we're talking about defining times and availability for our tasks, right? We're talking about define and assign times for tasks. Question for you. Do you estimate duration for every task? No, you should. Then you want to start to think about, right? Because what we're starting to do is we're thinking about our activities, not just as a blob, but we're giving a little bit of form and structure to them. Is this a 15-minute task? Is this a 30-minute task? Is this going to take me a day or is it going to take me an hour? Again, by starting to identify and including on our task list how often things are going to take, how long it's going to take, it's going to give us control over that, right? Then we want to start to think about, again, decisions. We're talking about defining and assign time. Questions for you. Do you schedule your calendars directly? Do you schedule your tasks directly on your calendar? Do you use time blocks? Do you have time blocks such as admin, personal, nope time, or a project? Or do you use a hybrid approach, right? So what we're talking about is we've started to identify how much time each task is going to take. Now we're wanting to look at how do you track that time in your life, in your action? How do you track it on your calendar? Because our task lists and our calendars, they're they should be very good friends, right? They should be in coordination, taking control of our time, taking control of our task list and our calendar and having them together. Oh, just think of what that would do for your day. That's why we're talking about today. Are you feeling unorganized? One of the reasons might be because you have a to-do list and a calendar. So that's why we spent so much time on this, talking about defining and assigning time. So that's why I want to ask yourself, 1, do you estimate duration on every task? No, you should. 2, do you schedule times directly on your calendar? Do you use time blocks? Or do you use a hybrid approach? This is again starting to say, we know we have tasks that need to be finished. We know we need to get work done. What does that look like for my tasks, right? So we want to start to say your standard time blocks or timing rules are what? This could be where you get into, I do not want to have more places than one where I'm keeping my to-do list, because what we're starting to say here is I know what I have to do, I know where I have to do it, and I know how long it's going to take me. When you've got those elements, when you've got those decisions, you're going to be able to move from unorganized to organized, and that's the goal of today. So we've made our 3 decisions. We've decided where, we've decided our operating system, we've decided how we're going to define and assign time. So the last thing that we want to do is we want to set your review rhythm and improvements, right? So we want to talk about, okay, once you say, this is where I'm going to be using my time, where I'm going to be putting it, this is what I'm putting down, and this is how long it's going to be. We want to start to say, okay, how is that going? let's talk about the moving forward. So we want to talk a little bit about decision and review. We think about it, this list and process is a living document, it's a living process. So one of the things we want to think about is, what is your review belief? How often do you think you should review your process for your to-do list? Is this something that you should review regularly? How often, right? So this is where we're saying, I'm going to look at my to-do list. I'm going to look at my to-do list process. So how often are you going to review your to-do list? How often are you going to review the process? So let's start by looking at, how often are you going to review your to-do list? Are you going to do it daily? And if you do it daily, is it going to be at a specific time, or is it going to be at a need? Right? So what we're doing now is we're saying, okay, now here is how often I'm going to look at my to-do list, because this is going to guide my day. The other thing we want to think about the to-do list, when we're looking at this and we're starting to say, okay, I've got the days and the tasks that I'm doing, the next thing we want to ask ourselves is, what's my rest day? What's my reset day in time? When is it that I have logged off and I'm not available? When am I not doing anything? One of the best ways to feel organized is to not do anything, because you know everything has taken place, everything is taken care of, so you can be present in doing nothing or whatever you choose. We want to start to think about, what is that? For me, from when I log off on Friday till Sunday morning, that's my reset log off time. If I decide to work, I do. If I don't, I don't. That is my time. That is what I have decided. I know that this is time and we're talking about to-do lists, but when you think about it, if we're on an off day and we're thinking about our to-do list, then we're not really off. So that's why part of me thinks it's important to be clear and identify when we're going to track our to-dos and when we're not going to. When you are reviewing and checking your reviews, what is it that you're checking, right? So when you're looking at your tasks and you've got a regular review session, for me, it's daily. You want to start to look at, I get to check off my completed tasks. I need to reschedule anything that's unfinished, need to add new time and new priorities, and then I need to adjust time blocks, right? So when we think about it, what we've just talked about is how we're going to actually execute with our to-do list, right? So what we're asking ourselves is, when is it that I'm going to look at my to-do list? When is it that I'm going to be off of my to-do list? When I am working on my to-do list, what am I doing? I'm reviewing and I'm checking off all of those tasks that are completed. I am rescheduling anything I haven't been able to do. It happens. We're not judging right now. It happens. I am adding new priorities and I'm adjusting time blocks, because we know my to-do list has a direct relationship and interaction with my calendar. So these are the 4 decisions that are going to help us to feel organized. Your to-do list isn't overwhelming because it's long. It's overwhelming because it's undefined. Our goal today has been to say, how are you going to define that process of tracking and organizing your to-do list? What is that going to look like for you? So when we think about it, when we're looking at our to-do list, in order for it to be a part of not just something we do, while our to-do lists are transactional, the relationship and ongoing process of your to-do list is a process. And so we want to look at, how can we embrace the process? And we're going to do that by establishing, defining, assigning, and setting. So that's what we have walked through today. So as we have walked through this today, I've been giving you my information, but let me share with you my organized to-do list process. So going through the decisions we just talked about, here's my organization, or here's my answers, right? So decision 1, the system, I use a notebook, as I mentioned. Decision 2, define the structure. My structure will be organized by project and then by category. That's how it works for me. Decision 3, define and assign a time. I schedule tasks on my to-do list with task time and update my calendar with time blocks. So I bring the two together by my task list has added task times, and then I've got to-do lists, or I've got blocks on my calendar. And then this set the review rhythm and improvements. I review my to-do list on a daily basis. And because I review it on a daily basis, it helps me to make updates and on revisions ongoing. That's how I move from the feeling of unorganized to unorganized. These 4 questions and this 4-step process is what helps me. So my challenge to you now is your fix-it plan. What can you do to fix your to-do list or that feeling perhaps of feeling unorganized? So my question and challenge to you is to take some time and to ask yourself, how are you going to establish your system? What are you going to define as your structure? How are you going to define and assign time and connect it with your calendar? And then set your review, rhythm, and improvements. I promise you, if you take these actions, it will be worth the investment of your time. This will take you from unorganized and chaos to clarity in 4 simple steps. And isn't that our goal? I hope that this has been very helpful for you. I hope my goal every week on Intentional Productivity Tips is to give you actionable ideas, actionable tasks, actionable items, actions you can take and you can put into your productivity life so that you are taking control of your time and so that you are working smarter and not harder. I want to thank you for joining me. I am Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner. You are watching me on USA Global and TV, USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel, where please remember, like, subscribe, and be notified when new episodes drop. I am here on Intentional Productivity Tips. I am here every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you for joining me today. I would encourage you to take some time with your productivity, take some time and be intentional and say, am I feeling unorganized? Do I not like this feeling? What can I do to feel better? Please join me next Thursday. I will be back. If you want to reach out to me between now and next Thursday, you please feel free to join me on Instagram. You can follow me at Intentional Productivity Tips, and you can email me at hey@productivitymegan.com. Do have some exciting news coming up really soon for you. Anyways, again, thank you for being intentional with your productivity. We work really, really hard. We've worked hard to create these lives that we have right now. So shouldn't we be intentional and take a few minutes to find what works for us? I want to thank you again for being here today. I'll see you next Thursday. Enjoy your spring week. And now here's a word from our sponsors.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradioshop.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradioshop.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
In a noisy world, true connection begins with listening. Elevated listening transforms every conversation in just 5 simple steps. Pause and breathe. Set your intention. Listen with curiosity. Reflect back. Agree on one next step. Join the Listening Mentor on Let's Finally Talk with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the Listening Mentor, where we help you find inner peace, one conversation at a time. Streaming every day. Let's Finally Talk TV show with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, only here on USA Global TV and Radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channels to watch and engage with all our content.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.